All right, this is the last lesson of our Egyptian unit. Most of our time was spent kind of reviewing and getting ready for the upcoming test, but we also talked about Egyptian temples and the architecture of Egyptian temples. So we finished up past notes, we reviewed, there's some video clips, we talked about Egyptian temples, and we watched the CNN 10 with any leftover time. The I can was I can name two parts of Egyptian temples. So first we reviewed the Egyptians' concept of the afterlife, how and why they made mummies, and what they believed the afterlife would be like in the Book of the Dead. And we talked about pyramids, and they were built for tombs, and how they were built, and who built those pyramids. And then we reviewed the three historical periods of Egyptian history: the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom, and some of the major events that were done in each of those kingdoms. And then we talked about Egyptian temples. So here we can see a model of an Egyptian temple at Karnak, the largest Egyptian temple. So as you come in, there's two big slabs with the door in the middle. That's a very Egyptian feature of their religious spaces. And also, if you look at this architectural schematic or drawing of an Egyptian temple, what you can see is that there's a room with a lot of dots in it. Each one of these dots represents a column. That's a very Egyptian feature of their temples as well. It's called a hypostyle hall, and it's just a room that's made up of tons and tons of columns supporting the roof. I thought that was a really neat thing to do. So here we can see kind of the entrance. There's a row of sphinxes that lead down the road to the entrance of the temple. It's kind of falling apart now, but this photograph really lets you see just how tall it was back in its day. You can see by this picture as well, this drawing, that these temples would have had roofs on them and they would have been quite tall. You can see it in this video game rendering as well. The walls would have been carved with pictures and paintings on them. The columns would have had carvings and engravings on them, and there would have been a roof on the top as well. Here we can see some of the Egyptian column types. So the capital, or the top of the column, is really distinct in Egyptian. There's a couple different kinds here, and they're all kind of made to look like flowers which grow along the Nile, either the lotus blossom or the papyrus plant. So we talked about Egyptian columns, how there's usually designs at the top and then bands of pictures that show important events from the person's life, and then more Egyptian designs down at the bottom. And then we got ready for the next test coming up.